Today on the channel, we bring some claws to a sword fight with the Marvel Legends Gamerverse Silver Samurai versus Wolverine.
And the spirit of Ultimate Warrior will run forever!
Welcome everyone, Kyle here, and welcome back to the channel for another Marvel Legends unboxing and review. And today on the channel, we're back at the Gamerverse with Wolverine versus Silver Samurai. But for all your Gamerverse needs and a whole lot more, make sure you're hitting up DJC Collectibles. Use discount code 8OFFDJC to save 8% off your entire order. Got to get a deal out there. And of course, going to do this review like we do all the other reviews on the channel. We're going to take a look at the packaging. We're going to talk about it. We're going to unbox it. We're going to talk about it. We're going to see where it goes from there. We'll do some comparisons later on in this video as well. But this is a pack I'm pretty excited about, of course, being a big Wolverine fan. And I collected Wolverine from episode? How about issue number 1, all the way to like issue 104, 106, something like that. And that's where I stopped reading comic books. But I did read that entire arc of Wolverine 1 through 100. And of course, all the X titles and related titles like the Excaliburs of the world around that time as well. So definitely Silver Surfer was an all-timer for me once upon a time, and Wolverine is always Wolverine. And we get a lot of Wolverines, and we've got a few Silver Samurais as well over the years. But let's dive into it. Let's see what's going on with this Gamerverse. Of course, celebrating Marvel versus Capcom without saying it, of course. And we've unboxed a few of these on the channel, and we just heard yesterday, I guess as I'm filming this, that we have a Punisher Nick Fury 2-pack coming, which is really awesome. I loved that Sega game as a kid. So cool to see that coming to the Gamerverse as well. But let's dive into the old Silver Samurai and Wolverine. Definitely a villains pack here with Silver Samurai and Wolverine. A blood feud if there ever was one once upon a time. And I always preferred Wolverine over the Sabretooths of the world. And I even like Cyber and the Omega Reds. But almost said Silver Surfer. Silver Samurai was always a cool opponent as well. So cool to see it here, of course. Dialing into the video game once again. Marvel Legends, Gamerverse, Wolverine, Silver Samurai. And the last Silver Samurai figure, I think, was the retro carded Silver Samurai, if I'm not mistaken there. Hasbro 4 and up on here. All you 3-year-olds, you're out of luck. But you 4-year-olds, he's got claws. You can use them on you if you need to. Wolverine right there, Marvel Legends. Silver Samurai, looking extra silvery right there. And they're ready to square off. Looks like they're in the game is what it looks like to me. Jibber jabber down low. Let's see what it says about this one here. We do got the cross sell. It does show the other packs. War Machine, Omega Red. Check out that unboxing. Psylocke and Thanos. I still got to get around to unboxing that one, so we will. Obviously, this is Wolverine versus Silver Samurai. And you got pretty cool graphics on the back here with the claw kind of effect. And then you got a little bit of that sword effect going there. The mutant Wolverine unleashes his adamantium claws against martial arts master and foe to the X-Men in this instance, Silver Samurai. So let's dive into it, see what's going on here. Dare I say, see what all the fuss is about. We do get a little bit of flight stand action going on, some claw effect pieces, which look different than on the back of the package. And then we get both figures here locked in the plastic prison as well. But I'm going to take this offline, get this all out of here, and we'll be back talking all things Wolverine versus Silver Samurai. All right, we got Wolverine and the Silver Samurai out of the package. Let's dive into it. Let's go Silver Samurai first. I guess we'll go bad guy first is what we're going to do here. Now, he is a Silver Samurai. He better have a sword. And we do get a sword right here. I don't know if I'd like this maybe a little bit bigger, a little bit thicker, especially seeing what Wolverine looks like here. We'll get into that in a second. But blue blade on here, black handle. Maybe a little extra oomph would have been nice. Is what it is with this one. And maybe 2 swords. Of course, there was a lot of times he had 1 sword, but there was a lot of times he had 2 swords going on. Either or, I guess. And I guess I'm going back to my comic book reading days. So 1 sword in the game makes sense on brand right there. Now we do get the effect piece. It almost looks like a throwing star is kind of what it looks like here. And it looks like, you know, of course in the game you'd use the sword and it would shoot off into that. You do get a flight stand here. And I gotta say, very, very weak flight stand here. Not going to hold anything extra heavy on this flight stand. It does okay with this one. As you can see, you got to kind of angle it just right to get it to stay. but it isn't the greatest plastic. A little bit gummy. I would definitely prefer a more McFarlane style. Todd, gotta give you your props. A little bit harder plastic, where this is a little softer plastic on these. Is what it is, though. But you do get this. I'm not going to be using this on my display. This is going in the baggies. Cool to give the game effect piece, but not something I need in my collection. You may be different with that. And then we do get this effect blast here. I don't know exactly where this goes. Do you wrap this around possibly his sword? I think is probably the way this one goes. So it gives the sword a little extra pizzazz, but I guess you could do whatever you want with this one. Probably going to stick this in the baggie as well is what I'm going to end up doing. But a nice little effect piece there on the blue plastic. But now diving into the Silver Samurai himself, similar but different of what I think of with Silver Samurai. Got big shoulder guards on this one. Just absolutely crazy. It looks like almost like a part of a roof is what it looks like to me. He's got that Silver Samurai helmet. The helmet is not removable on here. You got those tuning forks at the top here, like a young Black Bolt is what it reminds me of. And he's grinning and bearing it. He knows he's in for the fight of a lifetime with Wolverine. He's got those big teeth showing there. Got the white eyes. Got the very marbly plastic going on. Is that the word? Is that the technical term? I don't think so. But shiny plastic, we'll call it that. Sure, why not? But it is not super silver. It's more the gray samurai this time. It's a very dark gray throughout. I mean, a little bit of silver, but it's not Silver Surfer bright silver like I always think of with Silver Samurai. But once again, he's had a lot of incarnations, a lot of different looks over the years. But it does look good. Now, I talked about those roof shingles over there for shoulder pads, looking interesting. Full-on gray bodysuit going on. You've got the Silver Samurai logo, I guess we'll call it in the chest right there. I guess that's what we'll call it. Skirt guarding all over the place. Of course, you're a samurai. You got to protect the junk. You got to protect the back. You got to protect the sides. Got all that protection there. Got the sweatpants down into the legs, down into the boots. Just a weird, interesting plastic on this one, especially with the colors going on. I will say the chest coloring kind of looks a little bit different than the arms and leg. Just simple change on that one there. He does got two gripping hands, no extra hands with the Silver Samurai. Obviously, you're going to have gripping hands for your sword, of course, as we know. I do like the up and down hinge on this one instead of the side to side, though. That is a nice touch here for the Silver Samurai. Head back and forth, up and down. Decent movement on the head there. Pretty good down, not a ton on up, as you can imagine with the helmet blocking. Arms do go around. No butterfly shoulders on here. I'm a little surprised by that. No butterfly shoulders. Arms go all the way around. The roofing shingles do move out of the way, for those wondering. You do get a bicep cut. Unfortunately, double-jointed pinned elbows on this one. I wasn't expecting that either. Hands back and forth, side to side, as I just knocked off one of the roofing shingles. They do plug in, though, just on the side. They are removable if that is your thing. Hula hoop diaphragm up top, plus a traditional waist there. As I continue to knock off these shingles, hopefully this house isn't built out of these. You do get the Silver Samurai splits if you need them. No drop-down hips. I always get confused back and forth between G.I. Joe and Masterverse with the drop-down hips. We don't got that from the Marvel Legends here. Thigh cut, double-jointed pin knees once again, boot cut, and then you get ankles back, forth, side to side, up and down. For the most part, our usual Marvel Legends articulation here. And he should fit on a ringside collectible stand. Use discount code Kyle, save yourself 10%. Make sure you get the Mattel stands, as I always say. And he does fit on there. So, Silver Samurai, interesting. Gray Samurai is what it feels like more to me. But I do got the former version of Silver Samurai. Some similarities between these two, obviously. Obviously, a lot of similarities going on here. It looks like I got the same boots going on. That's about it, though. Everything else is a little bit different. I guess the same arms, and you got the same legs going on between these with the pin joints going there. The same boots, as I said. Different skirt. He's got two swords over here. That's what I'm always thinking of. The shoulder blades are different. The chest pieces are different. The head is different as well. So, I don't know. Should I say a decent amount of meat on the bone on the new one? But I can see some people saying, you know what? I'm good with one Silver Samurai. I don't need a second one in my collection. However, for me, I'm going to display one in a Gamerverse section, one in my traditional Wolverine section. So I got use for two Silver Samurais. By no means is this Magneto in the X-Men universe, where you can maybe get away with 3 or 4 different Magnetos, 5 Magnetos. What is time? What is Magnetos? But it's a cool twist, and I guess I do like the color differences. And I do think there's room for one more Silver Samurai with just like the reflective, almost mirror silver color to it. So maybe we'll get that in the future as well. But there's Silver Samurai from the Gamerverse pack. Now we're moving to our friend Logan over here, moving over to Wolverine. If you don't like the clawed hands, you're in luck. You got 2 Fists of Fury. Of course, they got the blue gloves going on for Logan right here. So we do have that. Once again, identical flight stand here. You do got the claw effects if you want to use that. Obviously, a hallmark of the game, of course, Wolverine, given one of those kind of things, and see that all go in there. Much like Silver Samurai effect piece for me, I don't need this in my collection. I don't need it taking up the real estate. Don't need it on display. But it is a nice touch because I have to imagine some people will be displaying these, you know, like they're squaring off in the game, like and against maybe Vega or something from your Street Fighter Jada Toys line, for instance. There's opportunities to do some of that with this. And this looks good for what it is, just not what I'm looking for what I need out of my Marvel Legends. That's my personal opinion, maybe not yours. But now we're diving into Wolverine. And I always say Wolverine is my absolute favorite. So it's always fun to get a Wolverine figure, but it's always cool to get a different Wolverine figure. And this is very different than anticipated here. Maybe they said that in the live stream when they announced this, but this is totally different. I thought we'd see some reuse with this one. Not the case at all. This is a big bruiser of a Wolverine. This is like Glenn Danzig Wolverine back in the 90s. Yep, Mother, you know what I'm talking about, Todd McFarlane. But I bet you that's the only Danzig song you know is Mother. And he said, fact checked on me. Yep, gotcha. I knew it. But a good version of Mother Glenn Danzig, of course. But this is Glenn Danzig, kind of small, stocky, muscular. Wolverine is what this reminds me of. Once again, it does go from the video game, but looks very cool. Now, he's got the huge winged mask on this one. More out there than any Wolverine I think we've got from Marvel Legends. So you got a lot going on with that one there. Much like Silver Samurai, he's ready to fight. He's gritting it in the teeth there. He does got the yellow and the black attack, which means only one thing. Who knew? Wolverine, huge Striper fan, not a big Danzig fan? I don't believe it. I don't believe it one bit. But you do got the yellow and black attack going on up top there, looking very, very good. You get the very familiar pattern, familiar outfit for Wolverine here with the yellow and black throughout with the blue trunks. You got the red belt there with the X logo. And of course, once again, very familiar in the boot department here with the black wings there against the blue. Looking very good. Now, we do get some hair painted onto the arms. Of course, Wolverine, one of the most hairy individuals of all time. One of a hairy back that would make Georgie Animal Steel blush, let me tell you. But unfortunately, no real fur on this one here. And I don't know if I want real fur, Todd McFarlane, on this one. I don't think I do. I think I'm fine with the painted on fur for my Wolverine. Got the shoulder guards over here, and much like Silver Samurai, those will move out of the way for us as well. Now, this is where it gets interesting, is this is a very stocky Wolverine, a very muscled up Wolverine. Small and mighty, and that kind of sums up Wolverine in a lot of aspects, of course. But man, oh man, these claws are absolutely next level. Much like the mask, we've got the long part on the black. You got some extra long claws on this Wolverine. It's absolutely crazy how long these are. And these may be the longest claws we've ever seen in the Marvel Legends from Wolverine over the years. Definitely different, definitely cool. I'm wondering, are they removable? They probably are. I don't want to really tempt fate and remove one there, but it looks like they could pop out. I know a lot of customizers out there will get real metal claws for these. I've never pulled the trigger on that personally, but that's always been an option for people to do that. And we will do some Wolverine comparisons where we'll really be able to see the size difference later in this video here. But man, these claws are very, very big. Now, articulation on this one, head, back, forth, side to side, up and down. Plenty of movement on that head. Kind of a small head for the rest of the body. It's the mask that gives it all the size, really. And it kind of has like a little lurching aspect to it as well, as he's got a little bit of a hunch there, I would say. Now, we do get butterfly shoulders on this one. Arms do go all the way around. Shoulder guards move with the arm. Bicep cut. We do get pinless elbows, but single jointed elbows on this one. That's an interesting move there. Now, I don't hate single jointed elbows all the time. I prefer them pinless, so we do get that. But not a bad look for Wolverine here. I don't know if it limits a ton of motion on this one, as he does got a little extra motion down the other way. So he's got a pretty wide range of motion for here, but he is very muscled up. That bicep might make the Hulkster in his prime blush a time or two, but single jointed elbows there. Hands removable back and forth, side to side, of course. Diaphragm up top, moving back and forth, upside down, something like that. Hula hoop, of course. And then you got the traditional waist here. No ab crunch with this one. You do get the big old splits from Wolverine straight out of Canada. He's got to be able to do those. Big old boot if you need it. More of a chest, I guess, to the normal Joe there. Thigh cut. Double jointed pin knees in there. And smooth as butter, I will say. No boot cut. I'm surprised by that, actually. No boot cut. Ankles back, forth, side to side, up and down, back and forth. Looking very good. Hasbro. Made in China, it does say, for those keeping track at home there. But man, this Wolverine feels and looks a lot different, especially in hand from what I was imagining in my head until I got this in hand, obviously. And he does fit on a ringside stand as well. But a bruiser of a Wolverine, a large Wolverine, especially compared to other ones of the past. Now there you can see him against Silver Samurai, looking pretty good. This is kind of what my mind's eye does imagine there as far as things go. I still think I might prefer the last Silver Samurai, though, to be honest. But this Wolverine is a lot of fun. And let's do some comparisons here. We got a Wolverine. This is, I believe, X-Men 97. So you can see this Wolverine is way bigger than the previous versions. Look how much thicker and taller this one is. So once again, it is Gamerverse, its own little world. I mean, you can move this into your traditional X-Men comic stuff if you want to, but it's supposed to be the Gamerverse world. So we got to remember that in the back of our head a little bit. Throwing it way back in the day to Wolverine there with more of a mustardy yellow. I don't know what to call it. A orangish yellow, I guess. And then we do got the X-Men animated series box set there, the Hasbro Pulse exclusive at one time. But all these Wolverines are so much smaller than this Wolverine. That might upset a few people, I do think. I don't mind it because, once again, it'll be on the Gamerverse shelf. But, man, that is a big jump in size for this Wolverine here. And I guess, speaking of other Wolverine foes here outside of Silver Samurai, I did pull over Omega Red from the unboxing of him and War Machine. So, of course, another villain for Wolverine to feud with. But it doesn't look terrible size-wise against each other there. And I don't think it looks terrible next to Silver Samurai either. But this Wolverine is definitely big. He has definitely been upsized. Not the end of the world for me, but I know there'll be some people that love it and some people will hate it. And I guess you could say that about every single toy review, every toy that's released. There's always somebody that likes it, always somebody that doesn't. That is quite the shocking difference. And I didn't realize how much of a difference until I got them right here at the table together. But the Gamerverse keeps on going. I think Venom and Captain America is supposed to be here tomorrow. So we'll probably have that unboxing soon. I still got to get to the Psylocke and Thanos one. I still got some Fantastic Four ones to unbox on the channel. So we got some Marvel Legends work to do. So make sure you do subscribe to this very YouTube channel. It always thumbs up the video, always helps the channel. Check out Patreon and YouTube channel memberships for even more content. Check out Sir Paul64 on the X, _Kyle_Peterson on Threads, Instagram, TikTok, and of course, TheKylePetersonShow at gmail.com if you want to email me. And of course, The Kyle Peterson Show is the podcast. It is my weekly podcast every single Tuesday, wherever podcasts are found, with video cast on YouTube. Check it out if you have not already. So for the Gamerverse, Silver Samurai, Wolverine, Todd McFarlane, Glenn Danzig, I'm Kyle. See you guys all real soon.
Well, are we gonna dance or are we gonna play?